The people of Bijeljina gather in the town's main square to bask in the first spring sunshine. Their enjoyment is marred by the noise of bulldozers. They're levelling the site where the town's main mosque used to stand. It was still there last Friday night. Now there's nothing left. These pictures were taken from a moving car because we were strictly forbidden from filming the demolished mosque site. We were not even allowed to get close to where the town's other 4 mosques stood. They were also destroyed in the early hours of last Saturday. This is what the main square used to look like. The mosque, a prominent feature of the multi-ethnic town. That chapter of Bijeljina's history has been wiped out. 2 hours before the mosques were blown up, all telephone lines from Bijeljina were cut. Bulldozers had to finish the demolition job at this mosque because it was only partially blown up to spare surrounding buildings. It was allegedly the work of an extreme Serb nationalist militia we encountered on the streets called the Panthers. Their commander, not seen here, is called Ljubiša Savić, better known as Major Mauser. He wants all Muslims out of Bijeljina by April the 15th. The Serbian mayor of Bijeljina apparently knew beforehand and opposed the plans to destroy the mosques. With the sound of bulldozers behind him, he talks of his helplessness.
Speaking as mayor, my feelings about this are ones of sorrow and sadness, and I'm trying to come to terms with it. Because I think this act will do nobody any good, least of all the Serbian people, who have always lived with the Muslim population quite normally.
The sound of gunfire is often heard on the streets of Bijeljina, and people pretend not to notice. There's been no fighting in the town since last May. The firing from the guns of the paramilitaries is purely to create fear among Muslims. Of some 15,000 Muslims who originally lived here, around 4,000 remain. And many of those are now leaving too. These Muslim families are bound for Vienna. The armed militiamen who put them on these coaches out of sight of our cameras say these people are leaving voluntarily. And it's true that they want to go, to flee. They're too afraid to say they've been driven out by acts such as the destruction of the mosques. This old man was one of the few Muslims willing to risk being seen talking to us.
This lady was not born in Serbia. She's not Serbian, only Bosnian. A Bosnian Orthodox, but not Serb. I am Muslim, but I'm not Arabian or Turkish. I'm a Bosnian Muslim. This man is a Catholic, not from Rome or Germany, but a Bosnian Catholic. And what now? Somebody forced us to hate each other, and is still forcing it.
We met the man outside the local Red Cross office, where families divided by war try to contact each other. This Serbian woman's older sons are fighting somewhere on the front line. She thinks her husband and younger son are still at their home in Muslim-held territory.
If I could only hear the voice of my child. I want to know if they're alive or not. They had to surrender because they were the minority. I'm always asking for someone to put us in touch with each other. I would even pay for it, just to know that they're still alive.
Most local Serbs appeared shocked by what had happened to the mosques.
This is just propaganda to get us to fight each other. Everybody's against it. The army officers have been asking each other who was responsible, someone who really wants Serbs and Muslim people to fight. I was in church today and the priest was crying, saying how sorry he was, asking what's happening to us.
Some Muslims who work at this Bijeljina flour mill are prisoners at a detention camp called Batković, 6 miles to the north, which we were not allowed to visit. We were allowed to talk to 3 prisoners hand-picked for us at the mill. 2 Muslims and a Croat. They and some 400 fellow inmates had been at either the notorious Omarska or Manjača detention camps until last autumn. The Serbs call them prisoners of war, while they say they're interned civilians. But they had no complaints about working for no pay at the mill.
I want to work here because time passes more quickly in this place. I volunteer to work here and it's not bad. First of all, the food is better. And here I can work slowly and nobody is forcing me to work.
There are small islands of normality in Bijeljina, such as the schools where children of the Serbs and the depleted Muslim population mix as before. This school has managed to keep teaching staff from both ethnic groups. But life outside has changed so utterly, no one expects to see their town return to how it used to be.
Bijeljina is never going to be what it used to be. It used to be a center of culture, of agriculture, a calm, peaceful place, a place of flowers and beauty. But we will stay together, except there won't be so many of us.
The destruction of the mosques here in Bijeljina and the fear under which the Muslim population now has to live are an inevitable result of the lawlessness created by war. People on both sides of the community have confirmed to us that local Serbs are generally disgusted by what's happened. But here, as elsewhere in eastern Bosnia, the local warlords are out of control and they have a sinister agenda all of their own. They try to keep the destruction of Bijeljina's mosques a secret from the world. Every day, eastern Bosnia is being cleansed of more of its Muslim heritage and of its Muslim population. Because what happened here has taken place in other towns and will go on elsewhere, unrecorded, until something is done to end the war. Gabirado, Channel 4 News, Bijeljina.